the dirt, no rest for the real. Still spine straight, I'm a soldier, no chill. Snakes in the grass, they creep and conceal. 20/30 vision, better sharpen your steel. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Prepare for the lies, let the darkness live. Echoes in the swamp, whispers in the wind. Legacy to build, can't let the devil win. Cash rules the weak, but my soul don't bend. 20/30 knocking, better cleanse that sin. They want us to sleep, but the light stays on. Fake smiles, fake friends, all of them gone. Cages of comfort, we breaking out strong. Roots in the south, but the fight's lifelong. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies, let the darkness live. Prepare for the storm, skies turning gray. The wolves in the suit got dues to pay. From the ashes we climb, no time to delay. The real ones prepare for the judgment day. Yeah.
A second. Boom. Okay. Can you guys hear me now? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me right now. Look at that. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Okay. Looks like everybody can hear me. Perfect. Perfect. Hey, welcome back to ARP in the morning. Appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. I hope all is well with each and every one of you guys on this fine Wednesday morning. Happy hump day to you guys, man. Grace and peace. Grace and peace to you guys, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys very much for pulling up this morning. A little technical difficulties. I don't really know. I just had to reset the, reset the roadcaster. You know, it is what it is. You know. What if we put a 2 in the chat? Look at this guy. Oh, Papa died. You a mess, man. But thank you all for pulling up this morning. Please remember to hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. And super chat I want to read real fast. Let's thank you, Steve Hadeen, for the $5 super chat. Says, please pray for my niece, Selah, who says she's transgender in Minneapolis. Goodness gracious, man. Let's keep Steve's niece lifted up in prayer. Let's just ask that God pricks her heart and that, you know, she removes herself or is removed from whatever that influence is. Let's keep her lifted up in prayer. Let's keep Steve and his family lifted up in prayer as well. Shout out to the Energizer Bunny with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much for letting me know that there's no audio. Hey, we're building the plane as we fly it, right? Shout out to the brother Malachi with the $20 super sticker. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you supporting me and supporting this channel here. And I want to show you guys this, man, because the brother Malachi, and shout out to him. We got a chance. I think you guys know this. He was out here in the Baltimore area last night, had to drop a load off. So I got a chance to catch up with Malachi yesterday. Awesome, man. You know, we got a chance to, you know, sit down and just chop it up for a little bit. And it was phenomenal, man. It's always really good, you know, to get a chance to meet you guys. I see you guys, especially when you all that call in, and I see you guys face to face, you know, virtually, you know, but it's always good. You know what I'm saying? When you really get a chance to do so, you know, physically and, you know, lay eyes on each other and know that we're real people. You know, I think Malachi can attest that I am not a bot. I think Malachi can attest to that. Sorry about that. Drinking my coffee. Hadn't finished. Got a late start this morning. But I want to pull this up, man, because we were able to get a picture snapped. Thank you, Energizer Bunny, for the $5 super chat. Have you seen the video about the plan to destroy America? Yeah, I actually did a video on it. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. Yeah, and I actually put something out about that the other day. But I want you guys to see this right here. Let me see what's the best way for me to pull this up. Maybe it's this. Ah, look at that. Got a chance to hang out with Malachi for a little bit yesterday. You know, appreciate you, Malachi, man. Thank you for taking the time to link up with your brother. I appreciate it. We got a little pick in, you know, after I was playing some pickleball, so I look a little disheveled. But shout out to him, man. Thank you, Malachi. Appreciate you taking the time to link up with me yesterday. Shout out to that brother, man. Yeah. So that was awesome, man. That was awesome. Shout out to the brother Malachi, man. That was awesome. Awesome opportunity to get a chance to, you know, chop it up with the youngin. Shout out to AI. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. It says, good morning. I clicked the like button, but it remained on 0. Interesting. Yeah, hey. It just may be one of those days, right? Maybe one of those mornings where, hey, we just under attack today. But shout out to you, sister. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, B? How you doing this morning, sister? Y'all make sure y'all listen to Lori Addison's instructions. She does say good morning and happy hump day. But also, remember to hit that daggone like button. Let us know what number you are in the chat. She said she was number 2. So I guess, Aeon, it did go through, I think. If it didn't, just double check it. You might need to refresh your screen, you know, and go about it that way. Shout out to Omega X. Shout out to you, man. Grace and peace to you as well. Appreciate you. Number 3. As I mentioned, the brother Malachi in the building. What's up, Marla? How you doing this morning? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Appreciate you guys. What up, LJ? How you doing this morning, sister? It's good to see you. Crowley, Texas in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. What's up, Zephyr K9? How you doing this morning? It's good to see you. What up, Miss Katz? How you doing this morning, sister? Good to see you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. All right, we got Chisaxi in the building. Shout out to you. What's up, Hunter? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Says he has a verse for us from Philippians. So as soon as I see it, let's see if it pops up here. Uh-oh, this is a long one. Okay. All righty. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, Whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Thank you very much, Hunter. Hunter always comes through with the Bible verse, man, to help, steady the show and get things kicked off properly. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. What's up, Nanny? Nanny kicked us to the curb. She's over there with Van. Shout out to my brother Van. Nanny kicked us to the curb. She's like, hey, Van's on. I can't. All good. All to the good. All to the good. I'm not jealous. We're going to have a conversation about this later. What's up, Nelly? How you doing this morning? Good to see you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Marcy Richards in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Corey? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. All right, who else we got up in here? Early. Toy Mafia in the building. What up, Papa Died? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Good to see you. Hey, Angela Montgomery, how's it going? Halfway through the week. Thank you for being number 22, hitting that like button. Thank you very much. Halfway through the week. Man, I'm telling you guys, man, these weeks fly by. And the weekends are even quicker. I was talking to my mom the other day. I was like, man, she's like, man, it's already Monday. I was like, I know. It seemed like it Friday and you blink and it was already, it's like, man, you got to get up and go to work, huh? It's crazy how fast these weeks fly. They fly by. And the weekends, like I said, they're even faster. But I will say this. There was a time, when I worked in corporate America, I on purpose used to save my time off, right? My PTO. And I on purpose used to take 3-day weekends every month. I would give myself a 3-day weekend. And if we had a 3-day weekend in that month, that weekend would be a 4-day weekend. So if I had the Monday off already because of a holiday or something like that, hey, I'm taking Thursday. Actually, I'm going to take Friday off. So I'm going to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday. We go back to work on Tuesday. And I used to do that just to keep from burning out. You know what I'm saying? I actually think I need to start to incorporate that a little more. You know what I'm saying? Every now and again, just give myself a 3-day weekend. I need to do that. But I enjoy seeing you guys and I enjoy hanging out with you guys in the morning. I definitely do. But I should really think about incorporating that. But if you're not doing that, I suggest that you do. Now, there was a company that I worked at before I got into this. They used to give us one Friday every month off, no matter what. And typically when that would happen, I would just add a Monday onto that as well. So one Friday a month, we would get, an off day. It was mandatory. You were not allowed to work even if you wanted to. You had to take the day off just to keep folks from burning out and things of that nature. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, I know. What's up, Shane? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. C Cook in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. What up, Teddy? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning. Who else is up in here? We got Rock in the building. Shout out to you. Mr. Largy in the building. Amber Young in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys very much. Is it Dion? Hopefully I pronounced that properly. Appreciate you pulling up. Jane Fecto in the building. Shout out to you. What up, Mama 1961? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Couple additional super chats I want to read here. Shout out to Ed Warren with the $20 super chat. Says, I appreciate the content. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And shout out to Laura Robinson with the $5 super chat. Comes through with Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. That's that old King James version right there. I like the new King James version. It kind of simplifies it. But thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you very much. All righty. Let's see here. All right. I think I'm caught up here. Thank you guys very much. What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning? It's good to see you. You guys make sure y'all pull up tonight, for the evening show. Kicks off at 9 o'clock. Y'all make sure y'all pull up tonight. I got to get that show scheduled, but we'll make that happen. And shout out to my folks on X, and shout out to the one person supporting your brother here on Twitch. Shout out to you. Good morning to you guys. Grace and peace to you all. Grace and peace to all my folks out there on X as well. You know, here on YouTube, we have 214 people in the building. I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes, but please hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything. That's it. Just the like button. All right. We got a good show. We got a lot to get into today. I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail, seen the title. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. But we're going to, what's up, Dion? How you doing? We're going to get things kicked off. Again, please hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Super chat, super thanks are greatly, greatly appreciated. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel and supporting what we're doing over here, supporting ARP family. Shout out to all my ARP family members, man. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel financially. Shout out to Eric Plummer, who supports the channel via CashApp. Thank you guys. And shout out to all my folks that support the channel via Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you all very much for supporting me and supporting what we're doing over here. I'm really, really appreciative. I am. I'm really appreciative. Like I said, man, you guys bless me on a day-to-day basis, you know, just to see you guys in the chat and the interaction, you know, in the community that we're building here. It's phenomenal. It really is. And I don't take it for granted at all. I'm really, really thankful and appreciative of all of you guys, man. Thank you guys very much. And my wife thanks you guys as well. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Shout out to wifey if you're watching. All righty. And with that being said, oh, mama says she got jury duty. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are y'all allowed to have phones in there? Thank you guys very much, man. I appreciate you all. But let's get things kicked off. Let's get the show started. All right.
Was the number one issue in the campaign the president's fitness or his age?
Did you ever see President Biden in a wheelchair?
I do not recall ever seeing President Biden in a wheelchair.
And new information now on the people in his inner circle and how the cover-up actually operated.
Senior aides that worked here until just a couple months ago, the beginning of this year, manipulating an ailing president for their own gain.
How much were you paid for your role in the campaign in 2024?
Just a little bit short of $4 million.
I'm sorry, how much?
$4 million.
You believe that the president should stay in the race. Your own financial stake in the matter was a factor in any way in your advice to the president.
I don't believe that.
And when it comes to President Biden's decline, the official word from Biden world about all these news stories is that nothing has been revealed this week that shows that President Biden was anything but an effective president.
Yes, I noticed that he was aging in terms of his physical condition. I noticed that, he shuffled more.
That he has more stumbling over words and gaffes than he did at the beginning of the term.
His rhetorical skills were not as strong as they had been, and his speeches were less effective, I thought.
We talked about age. We knew it was an issue, and we tried to design a strategy.
We had a discussion at the senior advisor level about whether the president should have a cognitive exam.
Flashback now to the
Okay, so I want to kick things off here. I want to kick things off today with a bombshell report that's got Washington in full panic mode right now. Full panic mode. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee just dropped a 93-page investigation that's throwing gasoline on the fire over how the Biden White House has really been running things behind closed doors. And at the center of it all, something called the auto pen, a machine used to stamp the president's signature. And now there are serious questions about whether thousands of pardons signed by Joe Biden were actually signed by the president at all. And the report claims aides were pushing paperwork, firing off pardons, and maybe even covering for the president's decline, all without clear oversight or approval. Committee Chair James Comer says this isn't just sloppy government. This is a cover-up, and the evidence is explosive. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to see the report, but if this is your first time, we're going to dive into it. I'm sure you guys remember the whispers about Biden's health, that nobody wanted to touch, right? And anybody on CNN or MSDNC, if they ever brought it up, they'd either cut their mic, they either shut them up, or they just flat out cut them off in general. I'm sure you guys remember this. Well, now, the receipts are out, and it's impossible to ignore. Impossible to ignore. But let's keep going.
The same answer with respect to any questions that are asked.
Did any unelected official or family member of President Joe Biden execute the duties of the presidency? Did Joe Biden, a member of his family, or anyone at the White House ever instruct you to lie regarding his health?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
And if that wasn't shocking enough, Jake Tapper claims Hunter Biden was basically acting like the chief of staff.
Hunter was driving the decision making for the family. He was almost like a chief of staff.
Did you notice an uptick ever when Hunter Biden was around?
Yes. Towards the end, I think he was living with the president.
They were lying not just to the public, they were lying to other Democrats.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Were you in favor of Hunter Biden getting a pardon?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Joe Biden if the allegations regarding his son were true?
No.
Ian Sams, who was the White House spokesperson, interacted with him 2 times. 2 times.
Well, I think it's really important to take the soundbite and understand the context.
How often would you say that you interacted with the president in person?
I interacted with him pretty infrequently. I think I met with the president a handful of times during my tenure in the White House.
I got to say, that doesn't look anything like the president that I know. When I deal with him, he's sharp, he's asking tough questions. That's the President Biden that so many of us experience every single day.
You don't think it's missing some context?
I don't.
So the people closest to Joe Biden had every incentive to keep him in office, regardless of the obvious decline. Regardless of the obvious decline that the country, everybody could see it, right? Everybody could. I mean, this new video released by House Oversight shows some of Biden's top advisors slowly and painfully acknowledging how Biden's decline was real and his aides did everything that they could to cover it up. And I got to say it here, mainstream media, they're complicit as well. The cover up was real. In fact, it was so real that even CNN's own Jake Tapper isn't having it with the constant excuses. But we also have video footage of Jake Tapper cutting people off, right? Letting people know that, hey, you can't talk like this on air about the president. I'm sure you guys remember this. They're complicit. They are complicit.
Conclusion of this 93-page report hinges on the lack of written approval traceable to the president's own consent when it comes to these pardons, and highlights staffers' confusion about the paper flow. Democrats drew their own conclusions. What evidence are you pointing to that refutes this report?
Well, Jake, thank you so much for having me on. I have to say that I am deeply disturbed that this is a lead story on national network television tonight, as we are 4 days away from 42 million Americans losing food assistance, as literally the White House is building a $300 million ballroom, and they are choosing to cut off food assistance and SNAP to 42 million Americans. They are going to let...
Oh, so they're saying, this lady is saying, don't talk about essentially, allegedly, the alleged fraud in the White House for 4 years. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the government being shut down and 42 million people losing SNAP benefits, right? We know that's a problem, and we've all been talking about this for a while. Heck, we've been talking about it on this channel for at least, over a week now, maybe a little longer than that. But this lady is saying, how dare you discuss the previous administration defrauding the American people? How dare you discuss that? I can't believe that's a lead, that's a lead topic or lead story on the network. Are you crazy, lady?
seniors, children, veterans, and millions of Americans starve. And this is what we're covering. So let me just say this. The bizarre obsession that House Republicans have with Biden is exactly that. He's not even president right now. Donald Trump is president. He is literally overseas. He is not trying to reopen the government. He is not trying to feed the American people. He is not trying to deal with the healthcare crisis. And he literally was being led around a ballroom by the Japanese prime minister last night in the apparent confusion that he himself is unable to perform the duties as the duly elected president. So I have to say, I'm disturbed to hear that this is even a story, as most of our country is literally in crisis right now.
This lady is full of sugar honey iced tea. And you're absolutely right. Red Shot, the fake outrage. Yes, that's exactly what it is. How dare you discuss the previous administration defrauding the American people? How dare you discuss that? And the last time I checked, the president doesn't have a say in what's going on in this shutdown. Last time I checked, the Senate got to hold this L when it comes to the shutdown. Senate Democrats, they got to hold the L when it comes to this shutdown. There's been 2 people to cross the aisle. They have 55 votes. They need 60. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. I think more people are more politically astute today than they were 20 years ago. Just because information is as free as it's ever been in the history of mankind, people have access to information that they did not have 20 years ago. But you want to talk about gaslighting people? That was textbook gaslighting. Textbook gaslighting. We got a chance to see what textbook gaslighting looked like right there in that previous clip. And I just want to say that the House doesn't need to be there to pass the CR. They don't. The House they've already done their job. They already passed it. So this lady's argument is invalid. But this is who they are. This is what they do. Deflect, 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 and deflect some more. This is who they are. How is this a national story when SNAP benefits are supposed to run out? Well, probably because the American people deserve to know who, if anyone, ran their country for 4 years. The American people deserve to know if they've been defrauded. That's why it's a national story. That's why it is a national story at this point. And you can bet that had it been the other way around, it would be a story. It would be wall to wall. And you can bet that if House GOP, if they chose not to release the new footage, this would have been swept, and they were hoping that this would be swept right up under the rug. I can't stand people like this, man. I really can't.
I actually do have questions for you about the cuts to the SNAP program and the fact that 42 million Americans will not have food stamp coverage as of Saturday. And we covered it yesterday, and I covered it earlier today, and I'm going to cover it tomorrow as well. But this is a report from the House Oversight Committee, the majority. And I talked to the chairman of the committee, who suggested that more legislation would be needed to outline exactly who a president should be able to grant a pardon to. Is that something that you think both parties could agree upon?
Well, I think, first of all, the House needs to come back in session. Mike Johnson has now canceled the House of Representatives for 39 straight days. We are in day 28 of a House shutdown. They are literally not here. The president is overseas, as I just said, and they are about to cut off food assistance to millions of Americans. And so I think it's bizarre that Chairman Comer is going on TV talking about an investigation into a former president who's not even a sitting president over a non-issue, while literally Americans are about to starve.
How many times can you say literally? How many times can you say literally? Because this interview was 6 straight minutes of nothing. She didn't answer a single question, not one question. And here's the thing. The House already passed the CR. What is this lady talking about? The House doesn't have anything to do with the shutdown at this point. They've already passed the CR. It's up to the Senate now. And honestly, it's up to Senate Democrats to cross the aisle and say, you know what, let's go ahead and open this thing up for the American people. It's up to them. It's up to the Senate. And the thing is that we all know that they need 60 votes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've had 12. If somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's been 12 votes. And they got up to 55. They need 5 more people to cross the aisle and say, hey, man, we got to do what's right for the American people. They need 5 more people. That's basic civics right there. You got to have 60 votes. But somehow our friends on the left, they still don't get it, man. They still don't get it. Oh, it's 13 now? Okay. They don't get it. It's crazy. Now let's talk about what actually matters here. I want to do that. The new Oversight Committee report drops a bomb. It claims that White House aides, under orders from the Biden inner circle, hid the truth about the former president's cognitive decline and his fitness for office. And what's even more alarming is that it found serious gaps in documentation on pardons issued in Biden's name, raising questions about whether he personally made those decisions at all. And it gets worse. Committee Chair James Comer says Hunter Biden was reportedly in the room for some of those pardon discussions, including the controversial preemptive pardons for family members. No matter how Democrats try to spin this is a big deal. This is a big deal, and the receipts are stacking up. This is a big deal, man. Come on. Comer's report said that clients, look at this. This report says that Zients testified that President Biden included his son Hunter Biden in the decision-making process for and meetings about pardons. We got to say, can we say an alleged crackhead? Can we say that? An alleged crackhead was making decisions that the president should be making. An alleged crackhead. This apparently includes the meeting to discuss the pardons of 5 Biden family members. Also, Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and the members of Congress who served on the select subcommittee to investigate the J6 attack on the United States Capitol and their staff. The Oversight Committee called a total of 14 witnesses across 3 months, mainly consisting of top Biden administration aides, including some who had known him for decades. Yeah. That's where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Like President Biden's auto pen had a mind of its own. A House oversight report revealing that recently uncovered documents and witness testimony indicate that even when a verbal decision was memorialized in an email, it doesn't prove that President Biden had made the decision himself. So the question keeps coming back to this. If it wasn't Biden, who was making presidential decisions? Well, it turns out Chief of Staff Jeff Zients would often give the sign-off for the auto pen after this lengthy process of telephone calls. For example, in January 2025, Zients says that Biden held a meeting with aides about pardons for his brother and other family members. Now, Zients himself was not in that meeting. Remember, that's actually important. Then Deputy Chief of Staff Bruce Reed or White House counsel Ed Siskel presumably left the meeting and told Zients staffer Rosa Poe about Biden's decision. Poe then called Zients at home to relay the message. So according to this report, Zients did not bother calling the president or anyone else in that meeting to confirm that that actually all happened. He just went on to authorize the use of the auto pen. Someone in the staff secretary's office would then convey that to somebody who would then use the auto pen for the pardons. So, look, how many times did this occur? And again, what did Biden know, if anything, about this process? And then there was the issue of his everyday life being micromanaged by his team, his clothing, his schedule, the number of steps he could walk or climb.
It's your testimony here today that you never just asked somebody, whether it was one of the senior advisors or the vice president, is the president okay?
I never had to ask that question because I saw the president on a daily basis, and I never ever thought if I never had that question.
So is it time to cancel those pardons? Let me know in the chat. Do y'all think that these pardons should be canceled based off of the information that we're uncovering today? The information that's out there. Do you think it's time to cancel those pardons? Attorney General Pam Bondi says her office is reviewing former president's use of the auto pen after House Oversight Committee questioned whether those pardons were even valid. But here's the bigger story. For years, we were told not to believe our eyes, not to believe our ears when it comes to the president. The slurred speech, the confusion, the scripted appearances, the lids called before lunch. You know, every time the mask slipped, the machine said, hey, that didn't happen, or that's out of context, or it's a cheap fake. Right? Now, we know why the gaslighting was so intense, because it was real. The decline was visible. The cover-up wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was the daily routine of the political machine protecting power, not the people. The political machine was protecting power, and that includes mainstream media. They're not absolved. They're not absolved from this. That includes mainstream media, the basic media arm of the DNC. They had zero interest in protecting the people or serving the people. A presidency isn't a pageant. It's about trust. And when those around the president treat that trust like a paycheck, the nation pays the price. I mean, come on, man. We're not going to allow this story to die on our watch. We got to continue to talk about it. I'm going to continue to look into it and see, you know, what else comes from this. Because Lord knows there is no telling what else is going to come out. But with that being said, I want to keep it moving. Oh, let me see if there's a super chats that I need to catch up with. All right. Shout out to Shine Cross. Good morning. As you can tell by my avatar, I'm a black man myself, and I love this channel. Are you identifying, Sean? I do like that orange though, man. I like the UT. I do like that. Shout out to love is a 4-letter word. Thank you very much for joining the ARP family. I appreciate you supporting the channel this morning. I really do. Thank you. God bless you. And shout out to, is it Diane? Okay. Thank you, Diane, for the $2 super chat. Says, love your show. Thank you. Thank you very much as well. Appreciate you supporting the channel this morning. Diane, thank you very much. Hey, Lori Addison, that's $1 million question right there. I don't think we'll ever get an answer to that. Who had that soft white in the White House? I don't think we're ever going to get that information. I don't think we're ever going to get that. but I want to keep it moving. So there's a story out of Dallas, out of LJ's neck of the woods. There's a story that's come out of Dallas, Texas, that's got a lot of people talking, especially parents. I want to get into it real quick. I wanted to have this conversation. So let's get into it. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are not subscribed. And I thank you guys very much for supporting the channel financially this morning. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Dallas ISD removed the principal of Woodrow Wilson High School after she called a meeting inviting only black students to discuss their academic performance.
And a parent of one student in that meeting told us that she found the meeting offensive. Fox 4 Stephen Dial live now with more. Stephen.
Woodrow Wilson parents we spoke to say that they feel like their black students were being singled out for the school having a B rating. Now, it's important to note that in the prior review, the school actually had a C rating. With the principal removed, some parents still want more answers from the district.
The principal stated that they are the reason for the B rating, and not in like a, oh, you guys help uplift the grade. It's you all's fault that we're not an A school.
That's how one parent interpreted Principal Chandra Hooper Barnett's message to her son, a 10th grade honors student. Jennifer, who is the mother, did not want to use her last name. She told me that her son and the other black students were pulled out of class for this meeting.
All righty, we got to talk about it, man. So at Woodrow Wilson High School, parents are outraged after learning that only black students were called into a special meeting. Now, according to students, Principal Chandra Hooper Barnett told them they were the reason the school had a B rating instead of an A. One parent called the move discriminatory and inflammatory, saying it singled out black students as the problem. After multiple complaints, the district sent an email to all parents acknowledging an incident that didn't reflect school values and quietly announced an interim principal. Barnett later emailed an apology admitting the meeting was not appropriate and taking full responsibility. Now, I want to say this as a parent, I've had kids go through high school. Had I received, or had my son came home, or either one of my sons come home and said, hey, Dad, we got pulled into the auditorium, all the black kids, we got pulled into the auditorium and we were told that we got to step it up because we're the reason that the school isn't where it needs to be at as far as the rating. I'd feel a kind of way about it. About it. Now, I don't know, anything about the test scores or anything along those lines at the school, but I would assume that there is as a principal, as an educator, I think there's probably a better way to go about this. There's probably a better way to go about this, but let's keep going.
It was like responsibility placed on students versus administrators saying, hey, we're going to do this.
The principal, who was also black, later acknowledged that the meeting was not appropriate. And in a letter to parents, she told them, I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred. And I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students. Monday, Dallas ISD sent a letter to parents saying Hooper Barnett had been removed after 3 years of leading Woodrow Wilson, telling parents Danielle Peters is the new interim principal. Dallas ISD did not directly address the content of the meeting, which is still under review. While some parents are happy about Hooper Barnett being removed, they still want more answers.
I am happy that the district has moved swiftly and tried to get this resolved, but I also want them to hold a town hall meeting with the parents to talk to us and to provide transparency and facts versus rumors and word of mouth and hearsay.
Now, it's unclear if Hooper Barnett will just be reassigned to another school, but I'm told that she is still with the district, according to sources. It is also important to note that Hooper Barnett was named one of the principals of the year last year.
Yeah, she took a C-rated school, and brought it up to a B-rated school and thought that, hey, this could be an A-rated school. And she may be onto something. She may be onto something. But here's where the story becomes bigger than one school. Because in my opinion, I think it does contradict. It exposes a contradiction behind the phrase Black excellent. Everyone celebrates it online, but the moment someone demands it in real life, people get offended. Now, again, like I said earlier, if I heard this, I would feel a certain kind of way, but I'd want to have a conversation to kind of get an idea and get an understanding of, where the principal was coming, with doing that. And I'm a full believer that, demanding, excellence, demanding our young people to do the best that they can possibly do. I don't have a problem with that. I don't necessarily have a problem, with our educators, with principals, pushing the children. Lord knows they push a bunch of other stuff, on the kids. They push a bunch of stuff on the kids, right? But for an educator to say, and I don't know, I mean, I guess I'd like to hear how she said it, because I think tone and the context of the words, I think that matters. I think it does matter. If it was more of an encouragement, if it was to uplift and say, hey, I know some of you guys are doing well, but there's some of you guys that we need to, we need you guys to improve, take your education a lot more seriously. Yeah. So I can't say that I'm 100% against what this woman did. Maybe the way she went about it probably wasn't the right way, but demanding that, young people step up and improve from an academic perspective, especially when we know, that there's a difference, between those who actually take their education seriously in comparison to those who don't. When you start looking at, their overall life and financially and so forth and so on, I think the principal's heart was in the right place. The approach may have been wrong, but I think her heart may have been in the right place. I think. I'm just speculating here. But Principal Chandra Hooper Barnett reportedly saw that her school's Black students were underperforming and wanted to challenge them, not shame them, but inspire them to do better. So again, like I said, I think her heart was in the right place. I don't know, maybe the approach might have been off. I don't know exactly what she said, but I also understand that it doesn't take much, for people to get offended these days, right? But instead of support from parents, she got outrage. Now, there was a time back in the day, that there would be parents that would applaud this lady for pushing the children to be better. Now, LJ, I agree with you there, but she's going off of the test scores. Based off of the information that's out here, it sounded like she looked at the test scores and she was looking, I guess probably looking at the grades and things of that nature and saying, hey, we need you guys to step up. It might have been better had they just did it and just said, hey, we're going to do it by grade level and don't bring race into it. But at the same time, I mean, this is a Black woman. This is a Black educator. And I think her heart may have been in the right place by trying to challenge, these young folks. Hey, step up, do better, because I believe in you and I know you can. But instead of support, she got outraged. She did. Parents called it discrimination, which I can't argue against that. I can't argue against the parents calling it discrimination because she singled out a single demographic of people. The media piled on, and now this lady is out of a job. Well, she's out of a position. She's still part of the ISD. And if you guys know anything about public schools, it's very difficult to get fired. Especially like if this is a first-time offense, maybe she gets demoted back down from principal to vice principal or something along those lines. But very difficult to get fired, unless you put your hands on a kid. You put your hands on a kid, then, yeah, they're going to get you up out of there pretty quickly. And even then, There's a process, and you're going to get paid for probably 3 months. You know what I'm saying? But the tragedy is this: a respected 20-year educator, named principal of the year, tried to hold her students accountable, and the system punished her for it. Accountability, in my opinion, isn't racism. It's leadership. Could she have gone about it a different way? Absolutely. She definitely could have gone about it a different way. And I think a general assembly for each grade, freshman to senior, or freshman to junior, because seniors are on their way out the door, maybe that would have been a better route to go. But I don't see a problem with her pushing. It'd be no different than, a teacher pulling, one of the black kids or one of the black students to the side and saying, hey, I know you better than this. I know you're better than this. I've seen you do better than this. You're slacking. What's going on? What can I do to help? How can we get you, where you need to get to? But when you're the principal and you pretty much call out one demographic of people, it's not a good look. Let's just say that the optics is not great. But Yolanda, you're right. You have a lot of people that are extremely sensitive. And there was a time 20, 30, 40 years ago that that wouldn't have been the case. And I think parents would have been like, absolutely. We want them to succeed. We want them to be better. And by you saying this and challenging them, they would have looked at it as, hey, this lady loves these kids. 20 or 30 years ago, I just think today's parents are a lot more soft than they were 20 or 30 years ago. Crystal, we got to get you on here. I'm going to send you the link. I want to get you on here. I want to get you, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put the link out there. Crystal, I want you to join just for a brief second. I don't want you, if you're ready to go, if you got your hair all whipped up and ready to rock, I want to put this out there. I'm going to shoot it to you via email. If I want to hear your, as a mom, I want to hear from you and what your thoughts are on this. Be on the lookout. I'm going to shoot you a quick email. Get yourself situated real quick. Give me a second here. I should have did this earlier when I was getting this thing prepared. But I know this to be true. You have a lot of parents out there. You can't say anything to the kids. Even when the kids are just flat out wrong, acting a fool in the classroom, you call home, the mom is likely to cuss your behind out in some cases. Not all, but in some cases. I know this to be true. I know this to be true. I coached middle school football for a long time, and I've had parents come to me and talk all kinds of craziness to me. Even though their kid mispracticed, their kid cuts up, we've had conversations. It doesn't matter. They're going to defend their kids till they don't care. They don't care. They do not care. They're going to defend these kids. But again, I got to say it, accountability, in my opinion, it's not racism. I think it is leadership. I think this lady actually truly cares about these children. I really think so. I don't think I wasn't there on the meeting, but I don't think it was malicious in the way she went about it. Other communities embrace high standards. Asian and immigrant families push for excellence because they know high expectations create opportunity. But when a black principal does the same, she's labeled offensive. And Barnett didn't fail her students. The culture did, in my opinion. We've replaced tough love with sensitivity. We've replaced excellence with excuses, and we've replaced progress with politics. And if we truly believe in black excellence, if we truly want to see these children succeed, you got to challenge them. You got to push them. And we got to stop canceling people who actually expect it, who actually expect excellence. And they're challenging the children to be better. And when I say be better, all the way across the board, pull your pants up, speak in a way that's a little more articulate. Have you guys met and talked to some of these kids? Have you guys actually met and had a conversation with some of these kids? Some of them speak in emojis. Some of them speak, in this mumble, this mumble slang that you can't barely understand. I'm telling you. You ready? I sent you the link, Crystal. Check your inbox. Because in my opinion, equality doesn't come from lowering standards. It doesn't. Lowering the standards doesn't equal equality. It actually comes from raising expectations and challenging the students to be better, especially when you know they can. When you know they can. So I wasn't in the meeting. I haven't seen or heard any of the sound of the meeting. I haven't. And my assumption is the way she came about it and the way she did this, I'm just assuming here, that it was from a place of love. That's my assumption. I don't think she had malicious intent. I don't think so. But that's just me. But I don't think the intent was malicious. I'm surprised none of the kids pulled their phone out. I'm surprised none of the kids pulled the phone out, or we don't have any audio of this. And maybe we do have audio. Maybe there is some audio. They just don't want to put it out there because, a lot of times, the media, they may try to paint things, in a different light. All right, perfect. We got Crystal here. Give me a second. Let me pull her up. What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, look at you. I caught you at the store. I won't hold on to you too long.
I'm not at the
But
store. I just got released. Praise God from jury duty. Amen.
oh,
So
I
amen.
hear that. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this situation? As a parent, as a mom, if one of your children came home and said, hey, Mom, we got pulled into the auditorium and the principal was telling us that, hey, they know that we can do better. They want to see us do better, and they're challenging us to be better. What would your thoughts be to that?
I as a parent, I would have been okay with it. I would have had a private meeting with the principal just to see, because especially if they come and say it was only the black students, I'd be like, and your principal was? My principal's black. Okay. Let me go speak to the principal. I would speak to her one-on-one to see what's going on. But I understand because I do have friends in the um in the education field, and they see things that we don't see as parents. They see all those type of things. So I know they get to know what's going on. And I know in ISD, because my best friend is a guidance counselor down there, a lot of the black students usually be slacking out there. So I could definitely understand. I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of them they slack a lot. And I can see this woman wanting to, again, they also are black excellence. So you should be excited that she's trying to motivate your children.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, as my best friend said, nowadays you have a teacher or a guidance counselor, principal will call home and tell a parent, hey, your daughter is in danger of not graduating, or your son is in danger of not graduating. We need to make sure that, and they will blame the teacher before they take care of the student.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's a lack of accountability on the parents' part. They would rather attack the administration than take care of their children and what they're doing. So I don't think I'd be upset. I would want to inquire more, but I would respect what she's trying to do.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. I would have, now for parents that are actually involved in their children's lives. And, I know for us, if I couldn't go, and typically my wife would go because she didn't work. I work. My wife would, the parent teacher conference, and then she would just take notes. If it was something that I needed to actually go and attend, I would make the time to attend. But she would go and say, okay, hey, this is what's going on. This is who the teacher, and typically I know all that information.
Yeah.
And when I get a phone call, I'm returning phone calls. When I get an email, I'm returning those emails. We were involved though. And I think
Same
that's a
here.
difference in comparison to some parents out there that they send their kids off because that's just free daycare for
Exactly. And that's the difference. That's
them. And
100% the
they don't care
difference.
anything about these kids. They like, hey, when
Exactly.
from the time school starts to the time it ends, they your problem, which is
Exactly.
sad.
Exactly. That's precisely what happens.
Now, somebody in the
Precisely.
chat, and I'm gonna let you go here. I know you got to drive. If the principal was white, would you feel a different way?
No, 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 I wouldn't. Because again, I'm not going to initially jump on the fact that it's something to do with race. I would, again, the same thing. I would question, let me see, is it that the grades are slacking? What's going on? And go from there. Now, if you called in a bunch of students and these students are top notch, like if I know my child is a A-rated student and you call my child in there and saying that you're slacking and you're bringing down now I'm gonna have a problem because I know my child is a straight A student doing all that they're supposed to do. No, now I'm gonna have a problem.
Well, the one lady in the in the article, there was one lady who is obviously involved parent, and her kid was an honor kid and was called into that because I think they just called all of the black students. And although her child, but there's his peers, I think it was a boy, his peers, were in that situation because this lady, they said she was basing it off of the test scores. And challenging the kids like, hey, I know you guys can do this. I know you guys can be better. I would have liked to hear the audio because I'm almost for certain that her tone wasn't malicious. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost for certain it wasn't. I just couldn't see, this educator who obviously is good at her job. She just won Principal of the Year out there. So she's pretty obvious. And obviously she cares about these kids. I don't think her tone was malicious, but at the same time, and when you hear for some of these kids out here, any type of correction is considered malicious.
They feel offended by it. Like, who do you think you are talking to me? Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I 100% agree.
All right. Well, I appreciate you pulling up briefly.
No
I won't hold on to
problem.
you. We'll catch up with you a little later today.
Yes, I'll see y'all later on tonight. Bye.
All righty. Take care, Crystal. Oh, thank Crystal for pulling up on a humbug. I got to start adding that. I got to start adding some people to the show just to, add some context and ask some questions to them. But I want to hear from you guys in the chat. What are your thoughts? Would it matter to you if the principal was white or black? Would it matter? If the principal's white and they says, hey, I want to see you guys, I'm challenging you guys to do better, to be better because I know you can. Would that matter? Would you be offended? Would you still be upset about it? I just want to know. I want to hear you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts, on it? Let's see who we got here. All righty. We got Laura Robinson with the $5 super chat. Says, I disagree. Shaming kids by race in front of their peers is not good leadership. Okay. Shout out to LJ with the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much. Shout out to the Energizer Bunny with the $2. Says, hello, beautiful. Talking to Crystal. I know you're not talking to me. And I can understand that as well. And I can see it both ways. I see it. I definitely can see it. Ernest Spencer with the $5 super chat says, our kids 8 being robbed badly with parents saying that's okay. How crazy is that? Clarify that for me. Is that our kids hate? Oh, our kids are being robbed badly with parents saying that's okay. How crazy is that? Okay. Got you. Okay. Work with me here. Sorry about that, man. Work with me. I know the thumbs get fat. I get it. I mean, if there was some audio out there, I'm surprised there isn't any audio because these kids record everything. So I'm surprised, that is the case. But I mean, I agree with you as well, Seabergy. Principals should expect excellence from the students. But there still is a way that you go about doing things. There's still a way that you go about doing things. And maybe that's a situation that maybe she could have relayed through guidance counselors or something along those lines. I don't know. But I get it. Well, I think Deb, I think a lot of it, and Deb, I want to pull this up here, said, why so extreme in firing her? That's what worries me. The parents wanted her gone, yet she was voted Principal of the Year. Absolutely. But nowadays, people don't get any grace to make a mistake these days. People don't get grace to make a mistake or a poor choice. When you start talking about academics, academia, the public school system, I mean, it's a mess. Thank you, LJ, for the $2 super chat. Says, was it all the black kids in the entire school? That's what it says. I don't know how accurate that is, but it does state that she pulled all of the black kids at the school into the auditorium. Yeah. Now, what we do know is, and I think, LJ, you brought this up, out there in Texas, there's a large Hispanic population out there as well. Maybe did they not account for the Hispanic population? Or is it a situation to where the principal thought, because, hey, I'm black, I have a little, what do they call it? Social currency there, to pull the black kids out in the school and say, hey, let me pull them and let me have a conversation. Now, the crazy thing is, could you imagine that coming off on the, on the loudspeaker? That's another issue too. On the announcements, the school, hey, can I get all the black kids to pull up to the auditorium? Huh? That's weird. All the black kids, I need y'all to pull up to the auditorium at this time. That's weird. That's very weird. Very weird. Just fleshing this thing out. It's pretty weird. Shout out to the Energizer Bunny 007 with the $10 super chat. Says, as a single parent, I homeschool my son. So I am principal and I challenge my son daily. Yes, that hello was at Crystal, and I have a German heritage, but I am American, born in Los Angeles. All right. All right. Where are you located now? Thank you for the $10 super chat. And you are the principal, yeah. And you should be challenging your children. I agree with that. But I do think that's a little weird, now that I'm fleshing it out, it's like, how did you get all the black kids to pull up to the auditorium? How did that happen? Did you make an announcement and say, hey, I need every quote unquote African-American kid or every black kid in this school to be in the auditorium in the next 5 or 10 minutes? Is that how it happened? Is that what happened? Because that's crazy work. That's pretty crazy if that happened. How do you do that? How do you do that? I think that's weird. That can be pretty weird. That can come across pretty weird. But again, I still don't think that the intent was malicious. I don't think, but I could be wrong. But I definitely don't have a problem with our principals, with our educators, with our coaches challenging these young people. They need it. They need to be challenged. They need to be pushed. And that's kids of all ilks, right? That's kids of all ilks. Doesn't matter where you come from. They need to be pushed. If you guys have not spoken to, some of you guys have children and grandchildren, try to have a conversation with some of them. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. All right. Energizer Bunny with the $5 super chat says, we're driving through Alabama today. Your truck driving member here. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Be safe out there on the road. Yeah, Dewan, you're right, man. You're right. That could have caused a problem. When you hear that announcement, hey, I need all the black kids. Now, the high school that I went to, that wouldn't have been a thing. That would have been the whole school, basically. Y'all know I grew up in the Atlanta area. Hey, 98% black high school. That's just what it is. It's Atlanta. It's a little different now in that area. But at that time, when I was growing up, man, even then, even though segregation was over, it was still pretty segregated. Shout out to J Pitt City with the $5 super chat. Says, my mom wasn't trying to hear it. There was no sports being played if I had a single C on my report card. These kids got it easy. Yeah, brother, you right. These kids got it easy. Hey, they lowered the standards. They lowered the standards. It used to be, I think you had to maintain a 2.5 to play. And they lowered the standards in a lot of places where, now it's a 2.0. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if you guys know this, but in certain school districts around the country, they're not even allowed to give you a 0. So you don't turn any work in. The teachers, they're not even allowed to give you a 0. You get a minimum 50 points, no matter what. You get 50%. You don't have to do anything and you get 50%. I'm like, man, if I was going to school in this time, man, I'd have been a 4.0 student. You get to make up all your work. You get to retake all the tests, all the quizzes. You get to do all of that. You get to do all of that. I'm like, man. And I had one of those memories, like, I'm on purpose not going to study for this quiz. I'm going to go ahead and take the quiz, and then I'm going to show up the following day or the next time we get the chance to take the quiz in the morning. And then I'm going to go ace that joint. And I do that for everything. Yeah, no zeros. There are places in America right now, certain school district, where you don't even have to turn anything in and you at least get a 50% at minimum. It is still an F, Yolanda, but 50 is, if you got 50 out of 100, when you look at those syllabus and they say, okay, the total grade, if you got an A, it's from this, and maybe, let's say, for instance, it's 1,000 points. 1,000 points is an A. No matter what, you get 50. Every now and again, you do something. You're almost guaranteed to pass the class because zeros are hard to overcome. But when you get the 50 points, you get that 50 points automatically for doing absolutely nothing. When you do decide to do a little something, you automatically, that grade's going to get boosted. And nowadays, a 60 is a D. Think about this. 60 is a D now. Back in the day when I was in high school, 70 was a D. Now 60 is a D. So if you don't do anything and you get 50 points or 50% for doing absolutely nothing. At the end of the semester or the quarter, depending on where you are, when you decide that, hey, I'm gonna try to do a little something, you don't need to do much. Turn in a couple assignments, all of a sudden, boom, you're a D. You got a D. Jeanette, I'm with you. I'd be a straight A student if school was the way it is right now back in the day. Shout out to Jeanette with the $5 super chat. Says every parent should be involved in their kids' education, doing as our parents went to all parent teacher conferences. I do agree with that. You want your kids to be a success, you have to be involved in their lives academically. You have to. J Pitt City said, hey, I'd got a scholarship. I'd get a scholarship to Harvard without even studying. Yeah. I had one of those kind of memories, man. I remember, man, please let me take the quiz. I'm not studying. I'm just memorize the answers. And the crazy thing is, I know this to be true. They don't change the quiz. If you have to retake it, it's the same quiz in the same order, in the same A, B, C, D, or whatever that is. It is in the same manner. Do you hear me? It's in the same manner. They're not allowed to change it. Hey, school is easy nowadays, man, in comparison. Shout out to TJ Jizzle with the $5 super chat. Says, how about we go to China, India, and examine how the headmasters address achievement and look at their test scores, then look at ours. I rest my case. Yo, you're absolutely right. Them folks don't play over there about that education, man. Matter of fact, if you don't showcase yourself as being someone worth educating, your kid's not going to get an education. They pick and choose who gets to go to college, who gets to go to high school. They pick and choose. Please. Hey, KMG King 420 said, I was barely a C student. I'd be an A student today. I'm with you, man. Hey, y'all are looking at a person that graduated high school with a 1.6 grade point average. Not because I wasn't smart. I just didn't care for school like that. I wasn't interested. And I was one of those people that at the end of the semester coming like, hey, I just gotta, what can I do to pass? You know, and my motto at that time, you know, it's sad to say, you know, I'm sad to say, but my motto at the time was 7-0 good to go. Because back in the day, you guys remember this, back in the day, a 70 was a D and you need 70% to pass. They've dropped it 10 points today. You only need a 60 to pass now. But when I was in high school, you needed a 70. So My goal at that time was 7.0 good to go. 7.0 good to go. I'm going to do enough to get a 70. And that's it. I just need to graduate high school. I remember my senior year, my second senior year, because I spent 5 years in high school, unfortunately. I remember, the teachers are asking me because I was a knucklehead back in the day. I told you I was trying to thug and bug. I was a straight knucklehead back in the day. And my second year, I'm in the debt program, getting ready to go to the Navy. And the teachers were asking me, hey, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I was like, I'm joining the military. I just need to graduate. And I remember telling all of my teachers that I just need to graduate. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I had a teacher that was like, hey, you don't even need this class like this. I know you need it to pass, but I know you don't really care about it. So this is what we're going to do. When you come to class, don't bother anybody. When you come to class, don't bother anybody. Skip, do whatever you want to do. But when you come to class, don't bother anybody. I'll make sure you get a 70. It's pretty crazy, man. It's sad to say that that was the case, but that was the case. That was the case. I might be the only person that had a higher GPA graduating college than high school. Shout out to C Cook with the $2 super chat. Says another form of entitlement. Thank you very much, C Cook. Yeah. Okie Angel said dropped out at 15, went to street school at 16 and managed to get kicked out. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that was my issue. I can't necessarily say I dropped out. I kind of got into a situation. There was a school out in Georgia called Open Campus. I went there, but if you missed a certain amount of days, they automatically unenrolled you from the school. So that was my situation. And I was just like, man, and that was my senior year, my initial senior year. And I'm like, I'm not going back to school. I'm not doing that. So I ended up taking the GED, took the GED. And while I was waiting for the results to come back from the GED, I go down to the recruiting office for the Navy. Tell them, hey, I want to join the Navy. I got to get up out of here. And my recruiter, which is a good dude. He convinced me. He's like, bro, if you don't graduate high school, you're gonna kick yourself if you don't do it. So he convinced me to go back and graduate high school. And that's why I graduated high school, because of my Navy recruiter. Because I had zero intent on going back. And I had already took my GED. I was like, dude, I already took my GED. I'm just waiting on the results to come back. He's like, you think you passed? I was like, yeah, I definitely think I passed. Because I had already took the graduation test and I had already passed that, and it's the same exact test. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I enroll back in school. I remember I tell my parents, I'm going back to high school. They're looking at me like, I thought you took your GED. I was like, I did, but I'm going back to high school. I want to graduate high school. So I do that, go back to high school for another year. I'm a super senior now. And the results come back. I'm probably a week or so in high school, back in school again. And the results come back past the daggone GED with no problems. But I was already back in school. I was like, let me go ahead and handle this. Shout out to Spaces with the $5 super chat. Says, we need that principal here in Chicago. CPS 3rd, 8th graders have an 18% math proficiency. By the way, email sent, be prepared for 12 minutes of black fatigue. I don't know if I want to do a black fatigue video, bro. Actually, nah, I don't want to do a black fatigue video. I've on purpose steer clear of doing those types of videos. On purpose. On purpose. If you notice, you haven't seen any of that over here. I just refuse. I refuse to do that. But I want to keep it moving. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel this morning. I want to keep it moving. I don't know if you guys heard about this story. He said you graduated at 21. Are you talking to me? No, I graduated at 19. I was 19 years old when I graduated, just a year late. Got you. Okay, I'll check it out. Yolanda said, actually, yeah. Hey, I don't watch a whole lot of those videos because it does frustrate me and it upsets me. But I see people that do those types of videos, and you know, people tend to seem to like those things. I just don't want to. I don't want to get into that. You know, that's not for me. LJ, yeah, I was a super senior back in the day. You know, super senior. And you couldn't tell me anything because I had a car and all this other kind of stuff. But I've been driving since I was 16 years old. I was in the 10th grade. I had a car and stuff like that. So somewhat privileged, but a knucklehead at the same time. You know, but I don't know if you guys heard about this story here, and I won't continue to hold on to you guys too long. And shout out to Crystal for pulling up for a quick second and adding some context to this conversation this morning. Shout out to her. But there's a man by the name of John Brandon Lamott from Frankfort, Kentucky. I don't know if you guys heard about this story here, but he's been finally exonerated after spending 9 years behind bars for a crime that he didn't commit. Now, I don't know what the heck is going on in Kentucky. I don't know what's going on in Kentucky. They got a dude locked up for 9 years for a crime he didn't commit. They let a dude out early for a crime that he actually did commit. I don't know what's going on in Kentucky, but yeah, Kentucky's a mess right now. But this heartbreaking saga unfolded in the quiet streets of Frankfort, where Lamott, you know, a black man described by those who knew him as a kind neighbor and friend, and was thrust into a nightmare situation that exposed deep flaws in our justice system. 9 years of this man's life gone because of a lie. This case goes all the way back to 2017 when a woman accused Lamott of stabbing her. At the time, she told police it was her ex-boyfriend who did it, but then in court, she changed her story and pointed the finger at Lamott. That testimony put him behind bars. The attack left Kate Sanders seriously injured, but her initial hospital statement pointed squarely at her ex, a man with a well-documented history of violence and a notoriously toxic relationship with her. Red flags that investigators initially overlooked as they zeroed in on Lamott instead. I want you guys to check this out.
A Kentucky man is exonerated after being wrongfully accused of stabbing his neighbor in 2017. According to the Exoneration Project, John Brandon Lamott was convicted in 2019 for the alleged stabbing of Kate Sanders. According to an Exoneration Project news release, emergency responders immediately asked Sanders who attacked her, and she named her ex-boyfriend. But during the Frankfort Police Department's investigation, officers focused on Lamott, who was Sanders' neighbor. After the trial, Sanders recanted her perjured trial testimony and admitted she had sent an innocent man to prison. On Wednesday, the Kentucky Supreme Court upheld the Court of Appeals 2023 reversal of Lamott's conviction.
How many dudes are locked up on a lie from somebody? Nearly a decade later almost, Kate Sanders, the same woman whose testimony sent Lamott to prison, posted online that she admitted that she lied under oath. Let that sink in for a second. This lady confessed publicly, even repeated it to friends and family, and yet she's never been charged. Why had this lady not been charged yet? Whether out of guilt or arrogance, the damage was done though. Lamott spent almost 10 years of his life behind bars, missing birthdays, holidays, and life itself, time with friends, time with family, because of one false testimony. And in 2020, he asked a judge to overturn his conviction, and it was denied. 3 years later, the Kentucky Court of Appeals reversed it for lack of evidence, but the state fought to keep him locked up. So think about this. You have a man locked up for 9 years. They know he didn't do it. The state fought to keep him in prison. You have a dude that attacks a family, kills a 6-year-old, and they let this dude out early. I don't know what's going on in Kentucky, but man, it is a hot mess in Kentucky. But finally, praise the Lord, after a brutal legal battle, the Kentucky Supreme Court officially exonerated Lamont in October 2025 after over 3,000 days. 3,000 days in prison because of in this wrongful conviction. Now, his freedom, came thanks to the Exoneration Project, Kentucky Innocence Project, and the Department of Public Advocacy, who uncovered withheld evidence and proved that the system ignored this evidence for years. They knew that he was innocent the entire time. This is ridiculous, man. I couldn't even imagine going through something like this.
Man officially has his freedom back after being exonerated after he was convicted in a 2017 stabbing.
John Brandon Lamont spent nearly 9 years in prison for a crime the Kentucky Supreme Court says he didn't commit. When the stabbing happened, the victim told police her ex-boyfriend committed the crime, but at trial said it was John Brandon Lamont. After the trial, the victim recanted, posting on social media saying she sent an innocent man to prison.
Lamont filed a motion asking the court to vacate his conviction. In 2020, he was denied. But 3 years later, the Kentucky Court of Appeals reversed his conviction due to insufficient evidence. But Lamont remained in prison then. Then this year, the Kentucky Supreme Court exonerated Lamont, and he is now a free man.
The lady who testified against him falsely needs to be charged. An example needs to be made. Seriously. 9 years in prison on a false testimony. I'm telling you, man, I can't even imagine. One of Lamont's friends, Walter Morales, spoke about how, heartbreaking this entire situation has been, saying that he was angry that his friend lost nearly a decade of his life for something that he didn't do. And I agree. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I'm more like upset and angry that this happened. And, you can't take back the 9 years of his life that he spent in jail.
Walter Morales says he and Brandon Lamont have been friends for nearly a decade, but for a majority of their friendship, Lamont was behind bars after being convicted for a 2017 stabbing.
And heard on the news that he had just been arrested. And so originally, I was just surprised, didn't know what had happened.
Morales says he went to visit Lamont in the county jail. He says an attorney told Lamont not to talk about what happened, and that worried Morales that the story didn't add up for his friend.
Even though initially I was not 100% sure of his innocence, I was still there to support him as a friend. But once I started reading the documents, I was like, he's absolutely innocent.
Morales says Lamont was sentenced to 11 years, and he served nearly 9 of them. He says prison changed Lamont. Morales says Lamont stopped taking calls and visits from friends and family.
I'd say he's been resilient, maintained his innocence throughout, and it's been quite a challenge for him, of course.
Morales says he saw Lamont 2 months ago while he was out on parole. He says the exoneration is a relief because now he knows his friend will remain free.
To actually talk to him in person at his parents' house where, I had last seen him, it was surreal.
Morales says he is grateful for the work of the Exoneration Project and the Kentucky Innocence Project. He says he hopes people do not forget about the injustice his friend Brandon Lamont faced. Madison Carmouche, WKYT.
This is heartbreaking, man. Seriously. 9 years of this man's life stolen because of a lie. And the woman who made that false claim, she admitted it publicly and repeatedly. Yet she's still walking free. Meanwhile, Brandon Lamont had to fight nearly a decade just to prove what was true from the start, that he was innocent. That's not just one man's tragedy. That's a systemic failure right there. Justice shouldn't take 10 years to fix what never should have happened in the first place. And sadly, this isn't rare. This isn't rare. We've seen lives destroyed by false accusations made out of anger, jealousy, or revenge. And the system's instinct is to believe first, investigate later. And a lot of times, a lot of these, detectives and things of that nature, they get lazy. Once they feel like they got a guy and they think they can convict a guy, that's it. That's it. By the time the truth comes out, it's too late. The damage is done. I'm sure this man is going to suffer from some PTSD. He's going to need some counseling. And this goes beyond one case. The slogan, believe all women, it began with good intentions, but somewhere along the way, it blurred into presume guilt. Feminism at its best seeks truth for everyone. At its worst, it weaponizes accusations and erases due process. Lamont's conviction came from exactly that kind of imbalance. Emotion over evidence, politics over proof. And his story, it's a warning. Be careful who you trust. You could be living right, you could be doing right, and one lie can take everything away from you. One lie. Watch how people treat others, because one day that same energy might come for you. Now, I got to sit here and say this today. I think this young lady who lied, she should be in prison. That 9 years that he had to do, she should get that same 9 years or more. I think he should sue the pants off this lady. He should. And I'm glad that this brother is free. I'm grateful for the Kentucky Innocence Project and others, who helped fight for this man. But there's no real justice for the 9 years that this man lost of his life and the horror inside of a prison. You got to fight. That's gladiator. You got to be a gladiator inside of these places. These folks are fighting on a day-to-day basis. Y'all hear the stories of what's going on in some of these places. There's no real justice for lost time. You can't refund 9 stolen years of a man's life. You just can't. So I got to tell you guys, man, stay vigilant, protect your peace, your name, and your circle. Because as Lamont's stories prove, one false accusation can destroy your entire life. And the system may take years to set it right, if they ever set it right. Hopefully, this man gets compensated properly. Hopefully he gets compensated properly. But even with whatever money they give him, still not going to replace the 9 years that he lost with his family, with his friends, with his freedom. Still not. It's just crazy. I don't know if you guys had heard that story, man, but I wanted to talk about it today, man, because it upset me, when I heard about it yesterday. I was just like, what the heck is going on, man? Shout out to the Energizer Bunny, 007 with the $5 super chat. Says, I was on the USS Duluth LPD 6 from 01 to 03. I was on the USS Wasp, LHD 1. Where's Duluth out of? Is that out of San Diego? I don't recall seeing a Duluth. But yeah, I was on an amphibious assault ship back in the day. Shout out to Kiwan Lynette with the $2 super chat. Says, look at Ronnie Long's story, 44 years. Yeah. Yep. Kiwan Lynette with the $2 super chat says, all convictions from that PD should be re-examined. I agree with that 1,000%. I think they all should. Yes. Now, Ronnie Long did receive, I think they're giving him $25 million. It's the second largest wrongful conviction settlement ever. He's going to receive $25 million, but hey, 44 years of your life in prison, that ain't worth 25. I'll take the 25 million, but sheesh. If he could say, hey, give me my 44 years back, y'all keep this 25 million, I bet he'd take it in a heartbeat. The fact that they have not decided to bring charges to this lady, I just find that crazy. I mean, this lady lied. But I think across the board, anytime someone is falsely accused, because we've heard these stories, women, falsely accusing men of assault and all types of things. We've heard this before. And when it comes out that is not the truth and that this lady blatantly lied, I think that these people need to be charged. They need to be charged. Seriously. This is ridiculous. And if they start charging these women for falsely accusing people of things, and I got to say, I can't even say women. How about we just say people? Because there's some men out there that falsely accuse folks of things as well, right? When it happens, these people need to be charged. They need to know that there is some consequences. Now, perjury is a felony. You're absolutely right. It is. But for whatever reason, it's rare. I don't think I've ever heard of any of these people once it comes out. That's like, what's the story? The young man, he played football. His name is Brian something. Played for the Falcons, actually signed him. Keywan Lynette, if you, what's the name? Is it Brian, where he was a young man, he got charged with SA. And the young lady, they received a lot of money. They sued the school system and everything, and she received a lot of money. And then some years later comes out and says, hey, he didn't actually do it. Ruin that young man's life. Is it Brian Banks? I think it is. I think it's Brian Banks. They actually did a movie on the brother. I think it is. Yeah, it's Brian Banks. Ended up spending prison time for, being falsely accused, sexual assault back in 2002. Spent 6 years in prison, had his conviction overturned in 2012 when the accuser came out and said that, hey, it didn't happen like that. Thank you, Kiwan. How many of these stories got to happen, before the justice system say, hey, man, this can't be. And the last I heard, that lady, they didn't make her pay any of the money back that they received from the school system. There was no restitution to him. It's crazy. It is crazy. There's a lot of these stories. And we know that a lot of this stuff goes way back. This stuff goes way back. There's been plenty of men, on the other end of a rope behind a lie, off of some of these women. There's men in caskets. There's men in prison, off of the lies of some of these women out here. Let's just keep it real. And, all my ladies, in the chat, I don't say this to denigrate you guys. But there are some people out here, man, that have done some pretty despicable things. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Deb, you're a lawyer? Well, Deb said they falsely accused her father and got away with it, but I got them expunged and fought back. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's crazy. Look at Hunter talking about the Salem witch trials. I'm surprised they still teach you guys that in school. I know you, Hunter the youngin'. I'm surprised they're still teaching the Salem witch trials in school these days. They've taken so much out. Keywan Lynette with the $2 super chat says, yeah, this is Potiphar's wife's spirit. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's exactly what it is. That's Potiphar's wife's spirit. You're absolutely right there. LJ, has you decided on a name for the late night tip? No, I haven't. I'm still undecided. I've heard some really good names, but I haven't heard anything that just jumps out to me and says, yeah, that's it. That's it. And I almost feel like, when I hear it, I know, like, hey, that's it, 100%. Paul Bryan said the Central Park 5 story also, it's up there as well. And those young people coerced, I don't know if we're ever going to get the full, truth of that situation, who was involved, who was not involved, but the way they went about doing it, it wasn't right, especially when you're dealing with children. All these people were under the age of 18. They definitely went about it the wrong way. But hearing about it too, I think the parents failed those young people, in that situation as well. There's no way I'm letting my kid talk to any police without a lawyer sitting there present. There's no way that's happening. There's no way that's happening. Shout out to Jeff with the $11 super chat. Says, you can blame the Me Too movement, where anyone who cast aspersions was believed and the accused was guilty until proven innocent. By then, the lies were ruined and the damage were done. Yeah, reputations tarnished. You're absolutely right, Jeff. I watched the movie, the Central Park 5. I watched that movie, and just watching that, the way the parents handled that situation. I just don't think the parents handled that situation. There is absolutely no way I'm letting my kid that has been accused of something sit down and have conversations with the police without a lawyer. Without a lawyer, not at all. Not at all. That's just not happening. I'm not allowing it. Dewan said regarding the Central Park 5, I read a story that the boys bragged about doing it in school. I hadn't seen that. But again, like I said, there's a lot about that particular story there that I don't know if we'll ever get the full details and facts, of that story. Yeah, I remember the lacrosse players down in North Carolina as well. I remember that situation as well. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But shout out to Mr. Lamont, man. I'm glad that he is out of prison. He's doing his thing, and it's just a step, one step at a time at trying to piece his life together. But that's all I have for you guys this morning, man. I appreciate you all hanging out with me today. Shout out to all my Blues. Appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much for pulling up and keeping things peaceful in the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed the show this morning. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to the brother Malachi, for hanging out, yesterday for a little bit. That was really awesome. Getting a chance to, meet and just chop it up with him for a little bit. That was really, really cool to be able to do so. And, thank you guys, man. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Shout out to all my ARP family members. Thank you guys as well. Shout out to Crystal for pulling up for a brief second to discuss what was going on or what's, happened out there in Texas. Appreciate that. Appreciate her as well. Thank you guys, man. You guys are a blessing. You guys really are, man. And shout out to everybody that supported the channel financially this morning. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Join us later this evening if you can. Hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully. We will not be up until 1 o'clock in the morning tonight. You have my word on that. We're going to get out of there 2 hours max. 2.5 hours max. We're not going to be on there until 1 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to happen. Shout out to Malachi with the $2 super sticker. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. And y'all hit that like button on the way out the building. What up, Playboy Billy? Thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate you all. Yeah, we'll see you guys a little later this evening, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, for the late show. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to call it yet, but for right now, it'll be the evening show or the late show. Right now, we're still working on some names. But I appreciate you guys. Yeah. No more than 2.5 hours. No more than 2.5 hours, Dion. We're not going until 1 o'clock in the morning. I still got to get up and come hang out with you guys in the morning on Thursday, Lord willing. Yeah, I was beat on Thursday last week. I was like, oh my goodness. Up till 1 o'clock in the morning, had to get right back up, to get ready to come hang out with you guys. Yeah, it was rough. That was rough. Sheesh. Yeah. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. Hey, enjoy the day. It is hump day. Enjoy the day. Hey, we are another day closer to the weekend. It's right around the corner. You're going to blink and we're going to be there. So I appreciate you guys, man. As always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. And we'll catch up with you all a little later. Take care, man. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide. the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they